and welcome to Two CPAs and the Mic, the podcast where we talk tax, finance, and all things related to business. Whether you're a business owner, working professional, or someone who wants to start a career in accounting, this is the podcast for you. Hosted by CCK Strategies partners Jeff Frable and Sara, we dive into relevant business and tax matters with working professionals to make these topics less intimidating, relatable, and dare we say fun? Let's get down to business.
Welcome to another episode of Two CPAs and the Mic. We are so glad you joined us today. We are covering relevant business and tax topics for entrepreneurial business owners and other professionals, whether or not they're in the tax and accounting profession. We're also here to share practical information without all the stuffiness and jargon that's stereotypical of our industry. We're so glad you joined us today. Today's episode, we are focusing on the non-traditional journey to accountancy. We have an amazing guest today. We are probably not going to be overly technical or strategic in our discussions as like that a business owner may want to be looking for today, but we are talking about how someone changes their journey and ends up in a place where they really belong. So my name is Jeff Frable. I'm a partner at CCK Strategies. I've been here for 25 years, 20 of those as partners. And welcome to my special co-host, Sara. Hi, Sara.
What up, Frable? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Doing good today?
Yeah,
all right, good. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Sara. I've been at CCK for 18 years and have been a partner for a handful of months now.
Sounds very classic.
I can hold all the months in one
Yes.
hand. Yes.
And KP, Christy Porter, good morning.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christy Porter with CCK. I'm the Director of Business Growth and Development. Glad to be here with my teammates enjoying the day.
We're so glad that you are with us today. I know you've had a busy week, so we're glad you're here. Sara, we have a very special guest today.
We do.
I've been so excited about this that I could barely get this podcast started. So
Yes.
not to just, get everyone all hyped up, but why don't you introduce our guest for today?
Yes. So today we have BreAnne Peters. She is a tax team leader here at CCK, and she is so much fun at work. I just have to say that all around, she is so much fun. I also follow her on Instagram, and she posts some of the best things ever. It makes me laugh out loud. So just seeing her personality outside of work, and then also having the opportunity to work with her has been just so much fun. And also because of that fun and because of just how an amazing person she is, we wanted to talk to you today, BreAnne, about your journey, how you got here, and all of those things. So welcome to our podcast. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, so I'm BreAnne Peters. I've been with CCK. It'll be 7 years in July. Sounds right. And I've been a tax team leader just for the last couple of years. And I originally from Oklahoma, got my degree here, did a little bit of time in Georgia, not for me, came back to Oklahoma, and I've been with CCK ever since. So,
Well, I will say, BreAnne, you're our first guest to officially be wearing gamer headphones.
Thank you.
So we are, if you didn't
I was
think
really
BreAnne
prepared.
was hip, yeah. So I think the title of this episode should be something like Tax People Can Be Cool Too, and can have an engaging personality type. So again, no pressure, BreAnne, no pressure.
BreAnne doesn't feel pressure, by the way, when it comes to her cool factor. FYI.
It just oozes out.
Yeah.
My
it does.
my husband always likes to say, I am just unapologetically myself, even in the worst situations. He's like, sometimes you should dial it back a little bit. And I'm like, but should I? That's no fun.
And that's when you say, should I? I'm not gonna. Here I am. Yes.
Nope,
exactly.
That's what we love about you.
Yes. All right. So, BreAnne, you've been at CCK for 7 years almost, and you've been doing accounting, but you haven't always wanted to be an accountant.
No.
So
definitely.
why don't you tell us about like your journey through college and because we know you didn't start with accounting. So where did you start? And then how did you actually end up at CCK?
Yeah. So back in 2012, I went to Northeastern State University for music performance, and clarinet player, was
Okay, I was gonna ask if it was vocal or instrumental.
No, definitely a clarinet player. I play a handful of things, but that was my main instrument. And I was very dead set on I was either going to be a band director or I was going to do musical therapy and like VA hospitals and stuff like that. And very cool career path, very interesting, fit me creatively. I've always been like a very creative person, creative minded. And, so I was gung ho at that. And I did it for 3 years. How I met my husband. We met in marching band, which I think is like just the nerdiest thing about us.
Jeff will nerd out with
I'm gonna jump in here.
All day.
I was a band parent for 9 years, and
so you get it.
I appreciate the marching band arts. Where did you go to high school? What band did you march in?
Durant High School.
In Durant. Okay, I didn't know you were from. So that's in Southeast Oklahoma. And the biggest thing about Durant is the casino down there, right?
Correct. It is still currently the biggest thing about it.
Tell our listening audience the proper pronunciation of the city.
Durant, like we said.
Well, they say Durant.
I've heard Durant, and I've been corrected many times.
That's really funny because as a person who grew up there, I definitely say Durant, but it is the first thing people say to me. They're like, "Oh, Durant," and I have to be like, "Sure." You know what? Not going to argue it. I did just say it to you, but it's fine. Durant. We'll go with this.
But again, the two biggest things down there are Southeastern Oklahoma State University and the casino. So
correct. And Southeastern was a little too close to home. I definitely was like, oh, I'm ready to go, ready to experience the world. And so my dad jokes that I picked the furthest way off the map, still in state, when I picked my college. So yes. But yeah,
that was Northeastern State, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in Tahlequah. Yeah, I went to the Tahlequah campus, and so I was a music major, and I met my husband, and we were both music majors, and I realized about 3 years in, so fully a junior in college, getting close to graduating, that I don't really care for children, teaching them, and I got really tired of playing piano. Piano is a huge part of being a music major, if you didn't know, in general, but of being a music major. And it's not my main instrument. It's very hard. And I got tired of it. And then I was kind of, my husband and I, boyfriend at the time, were kind of looking at our future. And we were like, well, one of us has to pay the bills. So I'm going to take one for the team and do something different. But I didn't really know what I was going to do at that point. And I really did truly just kind of accidentally fall into accounting. One of my friends at the time was an accounting major. And she said, a business degree is a good place to start. Just take a bunch of like business gen eds and figure out what you want to do from there. And so I took my business gen eds and I was like, oh, wait, I'm kind of good at this. I'll just keep going. And I got a whole accounting degree after that in a very short amount of time because I didn't want to be at college any longer than I really had to be. And that was that.
Well, I was going to ask BreAnne, because if you made that choice, so personally, I have a son that was a music ed major down at North Texas. And he told us the January before he graduated in December that he didn't want to teach. And my wife said, I could have told you that because he had the same thing about kids as you do. But he still got the music ed degree. But how quickly did you go from music major to accounting major to graduation? What was that period of time?
I made my decision very quickly because once I've decided, that's what I'm doing. And so I decided in the spring of my junior year. So I had basically done my entire junior year and I hit summer classes that summer immediately, took my intro to financial accounting and all of that. And then I wound up graduating. So I went an extra semester. So I didn't go a full 5 years. I still did 4 years, but I took a ton of summer classes and I had 18-hour semesters for the rest of my college to wrap it up. Because I didn't want to be there for longer than I had to be.
I mean, does that rate surprise anyone here?
No, it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't at all.
Pretty impressive.
Okay, so BreAnne, I have the same sort of path as far as like switching majors and all of that lovely business. And I fell in love with accounting in my intro to a financial accounting class. Was that the same for you? I think that's what I heard. Was the class that did it? What was it? What was it that just put you in that mindset?
Yeah. I think what I was struggling with music is everything's very subjective. Like as a creative person, everything is subjective. It's all about how you look at it. What do you see when you look at this painting? What do you hear when you listen to this? And I think that was frustrating for me because I'm somebody who likes to do things right and I like to be good at it. And I was good at music, but that's a place where you're being constantly critiqued and like, well, you could have done this better. You could have done this better, et cetera. And when I got into accounting, it was like, well, there's an answer. Like
everything had a balance.
Everything balances. Everything comes out to a number. And that's it. And there is nuance to it. There's a lot of nuance to it. And we're in tax. There's a lot of gray to it. But at the end of the day, there's an answer that we're working towards. And that appealed to me a lot coming out of the constant critique and just the subjectiveness of an art degree. And so that appealed to me immediately. And it just clicked for me. Like I understood it. Yeah. And I was like, yes, this just logically makes sense to my brain.
So, BreAnne, let me ask you this question, because I know a lot of creative people, and the last thing I would have them do is do anything with a spreadsheet or financials or anything like that. So, are you a finance person that was creative musically, or are you a music person that is creative financially?
I'm a music person that's creative financially.
Okay.
I would not... Like, don't ask me to solve a math problem. Don't ask me, I will say there was a moment I remember early on in CCK of using a calculator in Jeff's office to do like 10% of something. And Jeff immediately gave me crap about it. And I was like, you know what, Jeff? I could do this in my head, but do you want me to?
And I just want to interject here because this is kind of one of the things about CCK that's different. I mean, BreAnne, how long were you with CCK when that happened? It probably wasn't long.
It was not long.
And there's a ton of places where you would worry about what you're saying to the partner, let alone being in their office because they're so intimidating. And here we have this younger teammate going, "Excuse me, Mr. Frable, would you really like me to do that or not?"
Did she say Mr. Frable?
I was going to say, you just added that in yourself, Jeff.
I sure did not.
So
no,
you are a musical person that has this ability to be financially creative.
Yeah. I think that's how my brain leans because I was never a person that was like, I was always creative in high school. I wasn't a math person. All my AP classes were in English and things like that. I did not venture into AP math, or anything like that. And so I didn't expect to be good at it, but I just wanted to try and figure out what worked for me. So,
well, and that's another important thing that you're pointing out is because how many times have we heard over the course of our lifetimes or our professions, well, you're an accountant, so you're good at math. And the reality is that math is maybe back in the day it was a little bit more important, but these days it is much more about solving the problem, being a critical thinker and things of that nature. And that's what you're experiencing, is it not, BreAnne?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not terrible at math. I'm not terrible at any of those things, but it's not where my brain automatically goes. I think the thing that has helped me be successful that I get from my more creative background is a big comfortability with risk. It doesn't scare me to think a little bit differently than the way that, tax code is written as it stands, or, to look at something from a different perspective and say, well, it worked in this manner. How do we apply it to this different situation? I think that that's something that's really helped me excel because I'm not stuck in the weeds of the code. If you put a code in front of me, my eyes are going to cross. So I think that's where, that skill set lends itself really well, honestly, to this career for me, or it has.
your comfort with risk is something I think that you've been exposed to within the firm, BreAnne. I look at your career and the trajectory and all of the people that you've been influenced by and people you're influencing. This, Sara, it's a little out of our outline, but as you're talking about it, a lot of people have breathed life into this experience. What's that been like? We talked about Jeff, tell him immediately. There's a click, but there have been a lot of other partners and people with experience who've invested in Team BreAnne.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the main people that I work with a lot, one of our founding partners, Eric Kunkel, he's gotten me very comfortable with risk, but also very comfortable at looking at things from a different perspective. I think what's fun about working with Eric is I know how I got somewhere. And Eric is going to get to the same place, but he's going to take a detour that's about 4 miles long. And I got to follow him on that path to make sure that we land at the same place. Sometimes we don't. And then I think that it's so cool to learn from somebody like that because nobody has ever made me think harder than he does. And it's been awesome because it's just this extra experience. It's something else that I take away from that. And I'm like, oh, well, this worked for that. Can it work for this? And then another partner that I work closely with, Kina Leva, we are just like, I feel like we're soul sisters. Like we just think so much alike, sometimes to our detriment, because we will both talk each other in and out of something about 5 times before we're like, no, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going forward. But it's cool to have that relationship with the partners and get to learn from them so directly. And it has made a big impact on me and how my career growth has gone. Yeah, it's just been super cool.
You teach them too, though. You allow them to see a different perspective. With Eric, you both are very creative people, and that path, it has purpose. Whatever and how long it takes, it has purpose. And Kina, it's just such an amazing human with such brilliance. I can just imagine them saying the same things about you, what you've brought to them.
Absolutely. I agree with that, Christy, for sure. So in that, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sara.
No, you got it, Frable.
So you got into this accounting thing just short of your senior year. And it sounds like you got into it because you had a friend that was already into it. So there were some things about it that drew you to that area. What were your biggest misconceptions since now being in the industry that you may have had back when you were starting? Or even when you started in outside of college or after graduation and got into the industry?
Yeah.
Before you answer that is exactly what I was going to ask. So thank you, Frable. I just had to put that out.
Once again, that's all I'm going to say.
They're linked up. They're linked up. Yeah. Well, so to kind of get into that, right out of college, my husband moved to Georgia to get his master's degree. And so we were engaged at the time. So I wound up moving to Georgia with him and looking for an accounting job of any kind. Like I applied for anything and everything that had accounting in the title. And I wound up taking an administrative assistant position at a very small CPA firm there in Georgia, and quickly became just the catch-all for any kind of random accounting, tax, AP, sales tax, etc. Just became the person. And I think that my misconception was that I would be doing a small piece of a whole, like that I would be doing one very specific thing all the time. And I think when you see a very stereotypical, like those commercials of sad accountants just typing away at their computer, you just imagine they're just typing into spreadsheets for 8 hours a day. And it's like, I rarely honestly saw a spreadsheet at my old job. My boss made me learn how to use a typewriter. So I hated it.
You mean a literal typewriter?
A literal typewriter,
Oh,
a big mechanical typewriter. And I said, you know what? There's got to be a way to do this on a printer. Just saying. And then I figured it out. But I think that was a big misconception for me. And then that we're stuffy. I'll be the first to say I don't consider myself a stuffy person. But especially after starting at CCK, I don't think I've met anybody that's particularly stuffy, standoffish, or even going back to your stereotypes that you guys did on the show. Like I haven't met anybody that's just the biggest rule follower in the book or antisocial. We have a very social firm. So yeah, those are the big ones that I think I went into it thinking, okay, this may not be the most glamorous job, but it'll definitely pay the bills. But I've had a great time.
Well, it's glamorous when you have a podcast, that's for sure.
It is pretty.
Yes.
It is the life of luxury for sure.
As I promoted it last night on Twitter, America's hottest tax and accounting podcast. So, hey,
and I love it.
You have to speak it into existence, right?
Exactly. Manifest.
We've been laughing that we have tens of listeners. So maybe by the time this drops, we have dozens. We'll see. We'll see.
You got
But
manifest.
no, I think you bring up a good point, BreAnne, because, and we're not saying we are the only firm around that's that way, but we do have a culture and a persona that is a little bit different. And I think part of that is the treatment of being part of the family and the care that's received. But, we have to give a lot of praise to our recruiting teammates because they go through a pretty rigorous process to get hired. And so that doesn't mean that, we only hire fun people, but there's something about that needs to gel within the environment. And so it's neat to hear someone like you make that comment. So,
yeah. All right. So with those misconceptions and you are breaking out of that and you're like, this is not how it really is. So what is your current role here at CCK? And so it's so far apart from those misconceptions for sure. So like, what is your current role and what does it kind of look like on a day-to-day for you?
Yeah. So my current role is a tax team leader. So I lead a team of, I have 4 PMs and so project managers, a couple of senior tax analysts, and then a tax analyst. What it looks like for me, I think, is just day in, day out collaboration, helping people get things to the finish line. I think for me, what I try to do a lot in it is just develop and impart, this is how I do this. Does this work for you? And just helping people manage workload and their due date management and things like that, which doesn't sound too exciting, but I think my team, I'm very fortunate to work with all of them. They're the best. There's no arguing that, but they're just so fun. And I think they let me bring my lightheartedness and personality to the team. They laugh at my jokes, which is really helpful. It's good for my ego. We also have a team mascot.
I was going to ask about, just write it down. Tell us, is this Goose Willis?
Yeah, this is Goose Willis.
Okay, how does that come about?
Well, so, man, what a question, Jeff. So on Facebook, there's a Facebook group called the Portuguese of America. And there is a phenomenon of all of these plastic geese and people purchasing them to put them on their porch, dress them up in various costumes for holidays, etc. And I saw this on Facebook and I said, I need one immediately. And I got one for my birthday. And then I was telling one of my teammates about it. And she was like, well, you have to bring it into the office. It needs to be in your office. And I was like, you're so right. So then it came up to the office and then another teammate named it Goose Willis. And now he's the team mascot and he has an outfit for every occasion. He has a tie for due date days.
Really the best attire.
He is. He's a fancy goose.
Is he a he or a she? Because
whatever
the outfit works.
Yeah, whatever.
Because all outfits work for Goose.
Yes. There's just he looks fabulous and everything.
Really.
So, and I'm gonna say he may not just be a team mascot just for your team because the whole firm, at least in Oklahoma, can enjoy him. BreAnne's office is right next to mine. I see him every morning. He greets me every day. But I mean, he's sitting in the window looking out at everybody. I think he's going to be.
I'm with you.
CCK's.
I'm
mascot.
with you.
Hey, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
One of our core values is to be an encourager of others. I think that Goose brings it. I mean,
Yeah.
Goose brings the joy to
Yeah,
others.
you can't frown when you look at him and his little. Right now, he's dressed as a sunflower. So I mean, you're gonna frown at a goose in a sunflower outfit?
No.
Yeah.
It just says a lot about who you are as a person.
Exactly.
Big time. Big time.
BreAnne, what Facebook group was this again? The what?
The Portuguese of America.
Oh, the porch geese.
I thought you said Portuguese.
That's
I
what I
too.
Porch. Porch.
Porch.
Okay. Because I was going
Portuguese of
Portuguese.
America?
What?
No.
There's got to be more to that story.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. I didn't think about
Jeff
it.
is going to go on looking for Portuguese group
That's so funny.
on Facebook. Like, I can't find these geese.
I can't find Goose Willis anywhere.
So BreAnne, your current role is to bring this back around away from
Yes.
Goose Willis, is to work with your team to oversee, manage, and take care of them. So, I mean, obviously you do get into the tax work and things of that nature and taking care of clients, but your biggest job right now is just to manage people.
Yeah. Which is something that I love to do, honestly. I think I thrive in kind of that area, working with others and helping others like do what they want to do. I think it's something that people have done for me my entire career coming up so far. And it's fun to be able to be on the other side of that and do that for other people. So, and also my husband would say, I love to tell people what to do. So I'm in the right position for that.
I think you're a great leader. You manage projects, but you lead people. Whenever I talk to people and with our interaction with Clifton Strengths, BreAnne, and your team, it is so cool to see how they respond to you. And it's that same infectious enthusiasm that Goose Willis brings. You bring that to your team, and it gives them the freedom. It empowers them to go out and be awesome. And that's a really special trait about you as a person, but as a professional and as a leader too. You give people the permission to go out and be great. So there's a lot more to you on that one.
And I'll take some credit for it, but I do think that like some of that is just the environment that we're in. I think I came into CCK and realized like I can't be myself. Like I don't have to kind of like be a different person at work than I am at home. And I think I noticed that, I felt that, and I want my team to feel that too. And so I try to foster that environment as much as possible. Plus, I think there's something to be said about we're all people doing life for the first time together.
And only time.
And only time. So there is a relativity to that and a relatability to that. And just because you don't know how to do something, well, I didn't know how to do that at one point either. So let's figure it out together. Mm-hmm. And I felt that at CCK. So I felt like it was easy for me to continue that in a leadership position for, my team and others.
So I think you totally just squashed sorry, Frable.
No, go,
totally squashed that misconception of accountants just sit in front of a computer and type stuff into a spreadsheet all day. It's really about connecting with people.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
Yeah. And Christy will tell you, all of my top 5 are relationship building.
Go girl. Go. Speak it.
I know all of the learners and all the reds are the green now. Those are all at the bottom for me. All of mine are really relationship building. And it's where I thrive for sure. It's where I thrive with my clients too.
Number 1, she leads with woo, winning others over. Second is communication. Third is includer. 4 is restorative. 5, harmony. Positivity is in there at number 7. And then what I love about this cool top 10 is 9 is futuristic and 10 is adaptability. I mean, what beautiful traits that describe you perfectly. We could say that about anyone's top 10, but whenever I look at your top, it's just like, wow, BreAnne has a heart for people. And she just brings it every single day.
Yep.
So with that being said, BreAnne, what I wanted to ask you about is how do you view the client relationship? So, you touched on a misconception that I also wanted to bring back up, and that was that you would only do a piece of the project. And I think just like we talked in a previous episode about the difference between the big box banks and community banks and what you experience there, I think the same thing is with CPA firms. You could get into a big four or a very, very large and maybe just do a couple things, or you could get into a smaller, even though we're 215th in the nation, but you got to do more things more quickly, I would imagine. And so how has all that kind of transitioned into the client relationship, and does that bring you to life when you get to meet with clients, or do you not enjoy it, or what's your feel on all that?
Well, I love people. So I love meeting with clients, and I love to talk. So I love meeting with clients. I think it's been really cool, especially growing here. In my previous job, I met with clients all the time. I was the person that walked them through their tax return, mind you, before I really understood how to do a tax return or what was even on the forms. A problem in and of itself. But
it also talks about your comfortability with risk and ambiguity.
And jumping in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. I said, okay, well, I'm the face, so I'm going to be the face. But it was nice to get to come into CCK and actually learn what I was talking about, and then get to meet with clients after that. And I think it's been really cool because it puts a face to the businesses that we're working with. It puts most of our clients are entrepreneurs. This ends up at a person or a family or a group of people who are very real people, again, doing life for the first time. And it's fun to be that resource for them when they're like, I don't know what the right decision is at the end of the year. Maybe I have extra money and I don't know if I should reinvest it in my business or if I should hold on to that cash. And I think it's really cool to get to have those conversations with clients and actually see and feel the impact that what we do, see the fruition of that.
Well, and that's something we constantly talk about publicly inside the firm, is that it's way more than just filling out a form, but there's real life consequences to what we're doing and how we can help and where we can make a difference. You know what it's like when you save somebody X number of thousands of dollars, and that's a car, that's sometimes a house. It's a big deal. And so when you get to play that role, it's very, very rewarding. So BreAnne, how would you, let's say there's someone listening, because like I led off with, this was not a hugely strategic topic, but stuff. I'm having troubles today. So anyway, but we're talking, I think the main person that needs to be hearing this is someone that, may be in accounting and tax, or may not, but may see like there's a need to change their direction, and there's hope to land somewhere where you really are happy. Speak to that person right now, and what would your tips be for them to, take that step and make a change, and as it relates to what you experienced and all that?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I think anybody has to do in anything is self-evaluate. Are you doing something that makes you feel good every day? Are you doing something that is giving you some sort of fulfillment in your life? And if the answer is no, well, then identify what is it that's, causing the issue, and then how can you change it? I think making a plan. Just when I made a decision to switch my major, I had a plan. I sat down and I said, okay, these are all the options in front of me. What direction do I want to go? And then for people who might have, got an accounting degree and you're working in some sort of position now that you're not enjoying, I think it's okay to not enjoy it. Try something different. If you can do it within your organization, trying a different role. We've had people do that at CCK. Maybe they were doing tax and they've moved to client services. And so I think exploring your options and knowing that the real risk is in not in doing nothing at all. That's where the real risk is at. What do you have to lose in seeking more job satisfaction, more happiness, more of whatever it is that you're seeking? Nothing really. You lose the opportunity to seek those if you don't take the opportunity. So I don't know, just, get comfortable with the risk. It's not as scary as it seems.
Yeah. Just the question I had when you were sharing that, BreAnne, is so you were in the music world and you made this decision to change to accounting. How long did that take you? Because you almost come across like this person that says, I'm going to do this, and you went. But there must have been an evaluate. You were talking about evaluating. What was that evaluation process like, and how long did it take?
I think it took a little less than a month, and it was right around, genuinely, less than a month. It was right around, we used to have, and now I can't even remember what they're called, but end of semester performance exams, where you would literally go and perform in front of 3 people. They don't react. They just write while you're playing. And it's very humbling, but it's also just a very nerve-wracking experience. And then you leave it, and then you just get handed these papers with their comments, and nobody ever talks to you, does anything. And that was really dehumanizing for me, and very almost humiliating, because it's just to get up in front of these people and be judged. And then I just get a grade for it. And I hated that. And I hated that feeling. And so I was talking to my husband, and I was like, I have to do something different. I was like, I don't like this. Don't like kids. I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to have to go get a master's degree, probably a doctoral degree, to continue to do this at the level I would like to do it. I was like, I'm not spending that kind of money to do something that I'm not even sure I want to do anymore. And he was so supportive, and he was like, well, then let's do something different. What are we going to do that's different? And so I was like, okay, I'll do something different. And so I literally, the night that I decided that, got on the NSU website, and I scrolled through careers, the majors, and was just like, does any of this appeal to me? And my friend was, like I said, my friend was doing accounting, and she was like, just take some business classes, just start there and see if any of that appeals to you. And I fully thought that I would fall in love with marketing, and I did not.
Plus, A was towards the very top of the list.
There you go. I mean, it was right there.
She is an efficient person. Yes.
So what I really want to know, BreAnne, is, are you still friends with this person? Is this person in the accounting profession?
She's not. She's in IT, believe it or not, which is interesting. But I am still. She's my best friend. So
well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
good. Sounds like you have a great support system too with your husband. I mean, we know he's a great guy, but just listening to the history and how you guys went through this together, that might be important for a listener too, because Jeff and Sara both had that when they were going through that. And our teammate Keith touched on how important that was in the early days. And it's really cool to hear you affirm.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And it doesn't have to be a spouse, but just community around you, and leaning on people to help you a little bit, which is not always comfortable for us. It's not comfortable for me, but leaning on people to help you, and knowing that you have those sounding boards to help you make those big decisions.
Well, BreAnne, we could sit here all day and talk with you and have a good time. What I actually had a question I wanted to ask you, and I completely forgot what it was. Oh, no, I remember what it is now. It's anyway, won't go there. BreAnne, you are not, correct me if I'm wrong, you are not on the CPA certification track. You've kind of taken a different approach to all that. Tell us about that journey and what you've accomplished and what you're doing there.
Yeah. So I started to study for the CPA exam. I was like, this feels like the natural next step. Started to study. I have never been a good studier, great test taker, hate studying. Started to study, and I realized I didn't want it. I didn't want it bad enough to stick with it. And I was looking around at the people around me at the firm who are excelling without it. And another one of our, at the time, team leaders got their enrolled agent. And that seemed way more attainable to me. It seemed way more in line with my career goals in general. And so I looked into that, and still took a year and a half for me to really want it, for me to really want to give up the little bit of extra time to study. And then I got to a place where I did. And so then I pursued that. And I now have my enrolled agent as of January. Yeah. but yeah, I think I looked around and I looked at what I think the next 5 years looks for me at CCK, and it doesn't really look like me having my CPA. It looks like me leading people and doing what I really enjoy doing, and I didn't need it for that.
Right.
So I didn't. Yeah.
Well, and you just kind of naturally gravitated to where I wanted to go. I was, aside from working at CCK for the rest of your life, which you're going to commit to today, I was kind of wondering what are your goals and aspirations professionally?
Yeah, I think a lot of people they come into this and they're like, I'm partner track. That's what I want to do. I don't necessarily. I don't think, I mean, if I'm honest from where I'm at right now, it feels like a lot of responsibility I'm not ready to have. But I think
Sure.
for me, I'm more interested in us internally and the people internally and development of us. I love working with clients and I don't ever want to stop doing that. But I think what appeals to me most is managing and developing our teammates internally. And that's and I don't know what that looks like 5 years from now for me, but right now it looks like being a team leader. Next year probably looks like being a team leader. And we'll just kind of see where it goes from there.
Well, you're speaking my language, BreAnne, because as you know, I've struggled for years and years with how does a relational person thrive in a strategic profession like this, and I'm learning more and more about how important people like me are, and I see that in you. So when you say that's my goal and my aspiration, we cannot minimize how important that is in the size of our firm. When you're talking about 100 to 150 people, how do you all get along? How do you take care of each other? How do you work together efficiently and productively? And with tools such like Clifton Strengths and things like that, it just helps us all be better people together. And so I think those goals and aspirations are wonderful and very much needed in the corporate world. So
yeah,
I love that you're using them here at CCK. That's for sure.
Yeah.
yes.
You guys, I know that sometimes we talk about, wow, that sounds like a great title for this podcast. I've been just jotting things down because I'm pretty inspired by BreAnne. But the ultimate for me, it's like you're really good at finding your joy and meeting yourself right where you are. I think we're better sometimes at meeting other people where they are in their journey, but you seem to have this comfort of meeting yourself right where you are and finding the joy in that. And that's a huge accomplishment.
Huge.
To me, it's like, wow, that's a title. That's awesome.
Find your best self.
Yeah.
Well, BreAnne, we're so glad you took time today to join us. I think you shared a lot of great comments and content and tips about how you follow yourself through a journey and how you're true to yourself and make decisions and all that, and very encouraging to others that may be going through a very similar situation, whether it's in tax and accounting or somewhere else. But before we let you go today, there is one thing we do have for you.
Yeah.
Is it a nickname? I hope so.
No nicknames. It is rapid fire with
Rapid
Sara Mays.
fire. Yes.
All right.
All right. So I have a few questions for you. And so you just answer them off the top of your head. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Do you binge all of the episodes or do you watch one episode at a time?
Binge.
Nice. All right. Phone calls or texts?
Texts.
Okay. What's your favorite season?
Fall.
Fall. All right. Are you a bug killer or a bug saver?
I save spiders, but
Interesting.
I'll kill anything else.
That's interesting right there. We could have another podcast episode on that. What is your Hogwarts house?
Oh, I think I'm a Hufflepuff, and that makes a lot of sense if you know me.
I'm a Hufflepuff. Yes. And then lastly, now, since you asked about nicknames, what would your code spy name be?
Oh my goodness, probably Brian, because that's what the voicemail system always autocorrects my name to.
Oh,
Is Brian.
Brian, that's good. I love it.
well, I have one closing question for you too, BreAnne. Given that our podcast is worldwide, and I know there's many celebrities, especially hip celebrities, that listen to this podcast. Is there anyone in particular you'd like to send a hello to?
You know what? If Harry Styles was listening to this podcast, I would say, Sara, I would love to handle your tax work. Maybe my email will be in the description. You can reach out.
Yeah.
There you go. So if anybody listening to this podcast has an in with Harry Styles and he has a tax issue, BreAnne is your person. We got it covered.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if you know this, but my future daughter-in-law to be is a huge Harry Styles fan.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I'll take her to a concert so fast.
Yeah.
Well, he needs to go on tour again.
I
won't make her go to Italy with me for 48 hours, but
I don't think you did what?
Yes. You don't know.
Say
Okay.
this?
Hold up. First of all, before you go down that story, it was 2023, right?
yes, I believe so.
How many Harry Styles concerts did you attend?
Oh, I think 13.
Yes. And
I
then,
think 13.
and your most adventurous one was Italy.
Yes. So we had a friend who she travels a lot for work, and she said, "Hey, I have airline miles. I could basically get us to Italy for free. You'd only have to pay for your hotel. Do you want to go to the final show of Harry's tour in Italy?" And I said, "Say less. When are we going? My bags are packed." And so we went to Italy for 48 hours. We were technically in Italy for less than 48 hours for a concert. It was great.
That's a great story.
If that doesn't get his attention, I don't know what.
Right?
That's good. That's good.
Well, BreAnne, that story doesn't surprise me at all, and I'm glad you finished up with it. I hope everyone listening today just enjoyed this topic as much as we did, and enjoyed hearing worldly insights from BreAnne Peters. So thank you so much. Be sure to email us if you enjoyed this show, if you enjoyed this episode, or you have thoughts on other episodes. Email us at podcast@cckcpa.com. Just email us any kind of questions or thoughts. Let us know you're out there. We would love to connect with you. Our special thanks today to CCK Strategies for being our sponsor in time and financial funds for this podcast. We're grateful for the opportunity to use this medium. To Christy, as always, thank you so much for joining us and bringing joy into our podcast episodes. To Robert Mays for the intro and outro music. Clarence Fisher with Tulsa Internet Marketing Services for helping us through all this process, and Natalie Renfro for taking care of all of the background work. We're so glad you joined us today. Join us next time when these two CPAs get together to have a chat, and you get to find out who's on the mic.
The information provided on this podcast is for general informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute accounting, tax, legal, or financial advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, laws and regulations change and individual circumstances vary. Always consult with a qualified CPA or professional advisor before making any financial or business decisions. The views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any organizations they are affiliated with. Listening to this podcast does not create a client-accountant relationship. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge and agree to those terms.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Two CPAs in the Mic. If you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Have questions or ideas for a topic? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at podcast@cckcpa.com.